So Scott Talley with Network in Action here. And today we're with my dear friend and happens to be our franchise owner, Ms. Lisa Rosenfeld. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm not having as happy a day as you. Where did you just get back from?
I just got back from our Network in Action monthly lunch bunch that my husband, Moose Rosenfeld, who's also a Network in Action franchise owner, and I do together every month. And we had 24 of our members there. A few guests, so that was great.
All I got was a picture to make me jealous because I didn't get over there. But this is really cool. I think it's a great place to start. So obviously you host two sort of mandatory 90-minute meetings with both of your groups monthly. But talk a little bit about this lunch bunch and the creation of that and what happens there.
Well, what we decided, Moose and I, since we're both Network in Action franchise owners, and yes, we both have our individual groups and people are members of different groups, that it would be great to bring all those people together just to make their network expand even more, right? So yes, you're a member of a specific group, but it's great to network with people from all different groups. So we decided that once a month we would pick a different location throughout the city and do a lunch bunch. We don't do it on a specific day of the month. We try to keep it a little flexible to kind of work with our schedule as well. Also, it's kind of nice because sometimes we do it a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and that allows different people to come because some people may have conflicts. Yeah. So we just get it together and we do a lunch. It's not formal. We do go around the room and introduce ourselves super quick, just basically our name and what the name of our company is, so people can get an idea of who's there if they haven't met them yet. But it's just a real opportunity for our members of our groups collectively to network with each other. And I know a ton of business has been referred that way.
Lisa, I remember 10 years ago when I did the first one of these mixed things, and I had two, I believe it was social media or some kind of digital marketing companies, and they were both there. And I was so worried about who was going to be frustrated or angry or have a minimalist mindset. And they've ended up doing business together for like the last 9 years.
That's amazing.
So magic happens. Yeah. You can always operate out of fear, but if you just take a chance and do it. And then, okay, so y'all have that lunch, but y'all got two other events. You do a breakfast coffee click, right?
Yes, we do a breakfast as well. Once a month, we do that on a specific day because of the place where we have it. So we have it the first Friday of every month. And once again, any of our members are invited to come, any guests they would like to bring, and or people that we've met, throughout the month and, that are interested in Network in Action can come as well.
That's awesome.
And members from, so really we do it, basically it's maybe 7 groups altogether that we invite people from.
Isn't that crazy? So if you own a one-off company, you're not a realtor or financial services where, there's one of those in every group, but think about all those different businesses you have that there may be the only one or one in every 4 or 5 groups. It's just a great way to get value, isn't it?
Absolutely. So for instance, today, Corey Weinberg, who's a handyman in one of Moose's groups, he was there. And I know that is one way that he has really expanded his business because I don't have any handyman in my groups since I have 2 all women's groups. Not to say that there couldn't be.
You don't have a handy woman?
Don't have a handy woman right now. Or a woman who owns a handyman service.
Yeah.
But I know he has gotten a tremendous amount of business because he takes the time to come on a consistent basis and he meets a lot of people. Like who else was there today? A jewelry designer. Okay. You don't have one of those in every group.
Right.
Jewelry designer was there. A gentleman who does installation, like in your attics and everything, was there. Again, not one that you have in every group.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it. I love it. And then obviously once a month we have the citywide mixer here in Houston and groups from all over. So really so much for a 1 meeting a month kind of model. I always tell people it's 1 meeting mandatory a month where you're with your group, but there's certainly plenty of opportunities to network with Network in Action when it's run by.
I always tell people when I'm first talking to them that yes, we do the once a month and the idea is to save you time so that you can plan your networking on your schedule. But we also are going to give you a lot of other opportunities to network as well. And if you can, great. If you can take advantage of them. But again, you get to keep their schedule.
Yeah. And again, because we have some people in the audience who may be looking at buying a franchise, this doesn't cost you a penny other than your lunch or your breakfast, right? I mean, it's not like you're springing for it.
It's not on our dime. Each person pays for their own. Yes.
Yeah, crazy. So coming up on 5 years, I want to go back and do a little history. We jumped right in about start of our model, but let's go back. I love the history. So Lisa mentioned her husband bought the first Network in Action franchise, and Lisa had a very successful run in the corporate world for years, and then had her own cabbie business, and that's a women's clothing line, right?
Correct. Yes.
And I kept teasing Lisa about lifting all that heavy trunks going in and out of trunk shows, and she saw how often her husband was playing golf. And then you started poking around. So what was your initial impetus to start thinking about running your own groups?
Well, because, okay, so yes, you mentioned cabbie. So I was in the staffing business for, we won't say how long, but 20 something years. And then I've worked for myself basically since 2009. And so I did start selling a women's clothing line, and I had been invited to a networking meeting. So I started networking, and I built the cabbie business by networking. I was a part of an all women's group that, of course, that made a lot of sense. I was selling women's clothing. And so I just developed a lot of relationships. I was very involved in that group. I was on the board. I helped rewrite the bylaws. And so when you and Moose started talking about Network in Action, obviously Moose and I did a tremendous amount of networking. We knew that that was a great way to build a business. So Moose did it. I was a member of his groups. And then when I decided to make a change, I actually went out and interviewed for a few jobs and got some job offers. And I was like, I think I really want to continue to work for myself. And then, of course, I was always in the back of my mind thinking about Network in Action, thinking, oh, I could do this. I had really used networking, to grow my businesses. So when I contacted you, I said, I really want to do it. And you and I had visited a few times about it, but then I really wanted to do an all women's group.
I want to stop there because I'm the same guy that said Starbucks would never work in Houston, and now some corners there's 3.
Yes.
So just, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, sharpest tool in the shed. But Lisa came to me and she says, I want to do an all women's group. I said, why would you want to do that? I was like, it's going to be harder to build. It's going to take you twice as long. Why not do it the easy way? And boy, was I wrong, because I've watched the last almost 5 years, just the incredible connection and the brilliance of these 2 groups. So Lisa started initially with one group, which franchise owners are allowed to do. And then later on opted to start a second group. I keep teasing her that there's a third group out there, but we'll worry about that later. But right now she's running 2 groups. So over the last 5 years, what have you, I don't think you learned it. I think you knew it intuitively, that women network differently, that we'll talk about that a little bit, and I'm going to shut up and listen.
So back to my initial conversation, we laugh, and a lot of people ask me this, and I tell them this story just because they get it. And I tell them when you and I were talking that you said, well, Lisa, you're cutting out half your audience. And I was like, okay, well, I think in Houston, Texas, there's enough women in Houston, Texas. I should be okay. If I got like 1/8 of all those women in Houston, Texas, I'd be really good. So I really wanted to do all women. Back to, I had been in a women's networking group. I'd also been in a networking group where it wasn't all women, and it was great, but I just saw the difference of the interaction. And so without sounding hokey, it kind of became this place where it was what we kind of called our safe place. So, and I see that in my groups, that people can share things and they're just not going to feel judged. They can be very emotional. Okay. Sometimes women are more emotional than men. And that they just feel the support from the women in the group. And I always say women act differently when men are around, and men act differently when women are around. But when women are just with women, and probably men just with men, I've never been there, so I don't know, there's just a different camaraderie. And so because of that, it's just so natural, and people feel very safe. They feel like they can share if they need help with things and not feel judged. And then the other thing is, it's just amazing how women want to support other women in business. There's some people that's just what their whole goal is, to support other women in business. And so therefore, a lot of my businesses that are in the group, yes, they're owned by women, but a lot of them, mainly women, are their clients too. So it just evolves into that, and just a real trust factor that's built very quickly, it seems like.
I think I saw 2 videos, correct me if I'm wrong, but recently Lisa had a little get together, holiday party at her house before December. And I saw a video of the activities of that and the connection and the vulnerability and the risk that people were willing to take to be a little zany and a little crazy and be themselves and have fun and, move around. And it was like, I told Lisa after I saw that, I said, I wouldn't worry about any other presentation. The next time I present to a prospect, I would just show that video and ask if you'd like to be a part of that.
Right.
Right. I mean, it was
really good.
Talk about that Christmas party you had at your house.
So what I did is the last couple of years, I've combined my two groups for the holiday party. And so 2 years ago, I did it at my house, and then my groups have grown quite a bit over the last year. So I was like, ladies, I don't know if I can do it at my house again. They were like, oh my God, it was so much fun. We want to do it at your house again. Please do it at your house. I was like, okay, well, there's going to be like nearly 40 something women here. So it was a little crowded. So that probably helps with some of the craziness. But so I combined the two groups and they came together. Again, another opportunity to network. We did a white elephant with a nice gift, not a joke gift. And we played a dice game to go with that. And then I fixed food, and I had someone that makes some fabulous homemade Baileys, and we had a specialty cocktail drink, and we had food and just talked and visited. And it was just a great time. Everyone just had a blast. And at the end, as some people were getting ready to leave, they said they wanted to go out in our little back patio and they wanted to do a little toast to me, which was very nice. And so that's hard for me sometimes, but we stood around and a lot of them shared about coming to the group, what the group meant to them, what they've got out of the group. And it was really special.
Yeah, that was such a great treat for you to get back a little bit because you give so much. I want to segue here because, the history of networking is volunteer led, and you lead it for about 12 months, and then you step down, and the next person who typically has zero experience steps in, and they're not leading the group. They're managing the group. They're doing what somebody tells them to do. They're following some rules and some rigid plan. And, I always wonder, like, when you build a website, that's a really, really important part of a person's business, right? Having a good website. You do everything you can to be able to afford a professional website so that it has the SEO search and it has things in it that make you findable and relatable to people, or people want to do business with you. And yet for 40 plus years, networking has been sort of, let's just do it cheap. Let's just do it with a volunteer. Let's just do what they tell us to do just so I have a place to network. And that's not at all what you do. And I saw that in that video where they were like, over and over and over, it was like, wow, Lisa goes out of her way. She goes out of her way every day, wherever she can find a place to help us. And I'm not saying a volunteer wouldn't do that, a volunteer manager, but certainly someone who's financially vested, and you fall in love with your members.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're your best friends.
Oh yeah. Right? Absolutely.
It's a little embarrassing that we have to take revenue. We have to take membership dues from them because they really are. They become your best friends. And so you started just getting paid to help people every day.
Absolutely. And going back to that history and why it's so important to me, like, for instance, I have a birthday tribe that I go to dinner with, 10 women. And actually, I think 8 of them I met networking in that original networking group.
Wow.
And I've not been a member of that for 8, 9, 10 years. I mean, and we're still all together. So yes, they do become friends. You get to personally know them. So it was so funny. Someone had told me that they were having their child tested for something, just at the very end of a meeting as they were walking out. And when I saw her the next time, I said, so how did the test go? And she's like, wow, you remember that? Thanks for asking. And it's like, wow. Two things it said to me. One, I've always been a very good listener, and I have a very good memory. That's helpful. But 2, people don't listen. So, they're in a conversation. And so it's like being invested in relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. You're really invested. So you mentioned, guys may do some things you're not there, but like the other things I've seen you do, you guys have gotten away, like, I don't know if it's once or twice a year for like accountability partners on a Sunday afternoon to plan your businesses.
Yes. Yeah. There's been a small group that got together just randomly, and then decided that they would get together and do like a business planning session. And that's become something of a regular thing. And we get together and we work on whatever we might want to work on, set our goals for the next quarter. Some of us were doing a big event where a lot of us were speaking, so we worked on that while we were all together, and just helping each other. It's just whatever the person needs at that particular moment. And interestingly enough, a lot of people are like, well, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. So I'm trying to come up with an idea of how to maybe do those types of sessions, open it up to everyone. It would not, of course, be as intimate, but I've been thinking about like a coffee shop work day, or I don't know, that's flowing around in my head.
But the fact that you're trying to figure out another way to add more value is what blows me away. And that's what I've seen for the last 5 years from you. And I bump into people that are in your groups, and I've never heard a negative word, never even heard like a meh, like, it's good, or that's okay. No, they rant and rave about your groups. And it's such a testament to, your commitment to them. It's crazy. I mean, I got on Facebook a month ago, and I look up and there's 3 or 4 or 5 of your members. I don't know, 3 or 4 in London celebrating some event. We were all members together. This morning, I click on my emails, and there's a post from Bell Enzio. So let's talk about Bell Enzio just for a second. Lisa's been very involved in a nonprofit. Talk about what Bell Enzio does, and then we're going to talk about some of the leadership there.
Okay, so again, everything goes back to, I will go back to that group that I was originally in, the women's. The founder of Bell Enzio, Teresa Strong, was a member of that group. That's how I met her. Did not know her. She had not had the nonprofit for very long. So I was president of that group as a volunteer, at that time. But she would have some fundraising events. I was like, okay, guys, let's put some teams together. So she had a walk. So I said, let's put a team together. Let's do like, a women's group, let's get people to come and do the walk. And so I just got involved in it and started volunteering. And what she does is they help women that are in, whether it be a shelter, coming out of prison, they might be, she goes to different nonprofits around the city that help women, typically where women are living as they're transitioning from one stage to another, whatever it might be. And then they come in and they do a program for health and nutrition. And they basically train them to walk a 5K. And they graduate after they complete the 8-week program about health and nutrition, learning to take care of themselves, and completing a 5K. And so many of these women have never set a goal and completed anything in their entire life. Yeah. So when they cross that line of a 5K, I mean, it's monumental for them because they've set a goal and they've done something. So that's what the organization is about. So fast forward, the minute that they found out about Network in Action, they became a member. Then when I opened my group, they decided they would be a member of both my husband's group and my group. And then Teresa actually retired, and Kendra Atkins is the new managing director of Bell Enzio, and she is still a part of my group. And Moose and I are still very active, but again, I try to get my organizations, my 2 groups, very involved in volunteering with her.
Notice the new board president, Network in Action member.
So yes, so currently 3 of the 5 board members are from people that Kendra met at Network in Action, and just rolling off the board are 2 other Network in Action members that she met. The past president was a Network in Action member as well. So basically, between the board and sponsorships and just volunteering and people participating in events, it's really been a win-win relationship. So it's great to see.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, you get on LinkedIn and all you see is about people spouting off about some networking group that's, not transactional, that's transformational. It's just a word people use, but you're living proof that you're creating that community and you're doing that and you're affecting people's lives, and you're getting paid for it. Right. Yep. So what would you say to someone who's sitting on the outside? Maybe they've never owned their own business and they're thinking about getting into it, and they've got to plop down some money for a franchise. What would you coach them on?
I would coach them on, that if they're looking at like a lot of different franchises and trying to decide between Network in Action or this one, or if they're just thinking about owning their own business, that in my opinion, this is a franchise that you make it very simple. You lay out a plan for people, and if they follow it, they will be successful. I think it's I think the way you have it planned, like, when you start a group, you get time to build the group up. You start earning a little bit of income before, you're laying out a ton of money. If you do it correctly, again, following the plan. My thing would be is if you love relationships and building relationship and supporting other people, and you're really considering owning your own business, this is the one that's going to give you the satisfaction from that. It's going to warm your heart.
It's been so true for me. And I know that because you care so much, you get up and go to work every day on your group. But the reality is, you could do whatever you want every day other than your meeting day where you have to be there 90 minutes. I mean, there's tons of free time, but we have some committed franchise owners, that they do work every day on their groups, but it's not required necessarily.
Well, and Scott, yes, I probably do some work every day. Do I work 8 hours a day? No. But then there's some days I may work 12 hours. No, but the thing is, so I can schedule my doctor's appointments when I want to. I can plan my vacations when I want to. I can continue to work even if I'm on vacation if I want to. You know what I'm saying? I can make phone calls. I can remind people about meetings, things like that. But when I will tell you, the reason I left corporate America, one of the main reasons I left for a reason to help take care of my mother. But the main reason I did not want to go back into that is I could not stand not having control of my time. Yes. And I very much was in an environment that I did not have any control over my time. It was just always a permission thing. Like going to the doctor was almost a big deal, right? Like, how long are you gonna be gone? When are you gonna be back? Why aren't you back yet? It just drove me crazy. And I love the fact that if we decide to have family that lives in Austin, if we decide to go for a long weekend, there's no question I can be gone Friday, right? Yeah. I just leave on Thursday. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The flexibility is huge for me. I mean, do I work it? Yes. Do you need to work it to make it successful? In my opinion, yes. With any business, you can't just open the business and think people are just gonna, show up.
But there's no price can be paid. It's for this total flexibility of what you do. If you want to have a long lunch, if you want to cut off for an early happy hour, if you want to start with a late breakfast, you have total freedom with this. That's what Absolutely. I love about it. No employees, no bricks and mortar, no inventory, fast return on investment. And Absolutely. At the end of the day, you're getting paid and you become just such close personal friends with these people. I've got 22 people coming over Thursday for lunch.
Oh, wow.
Because I want to be around them, right? And to think that I get paid for that is sort of crazy. Yeah. Well, how would people reach you? So obviously we have people watching that are women in Houston who are like, I want to grow my business and I want some of that Lisa energy. What's the best way for them to reach you?
So they can reach me either by text or a phone call. It's my number 713-817-8872. Or my email, it's very simple. It's Lisa, Lisa, at networkinaction.com. Network in Action is spelled out.
Yeah. And I'm going to embarrass you here, but I love this story. Sometime 18 months or so ago, Lisa was struggling building her second group out. And she called and she goes, I'm thinking about shutting that group down. I'm like, nah, you're not going to do that. Get back on the horse. And she's just exploded since then. I mean, you've just really transformed your own financial situation. Got your brand new car at Christmas time. Congratulations on that. But set yourself in place for your best year yet. That's the other thing. This grows on the effort we put in a year ago with retention and residual income. And I'm just really proud of the grit and how much you're giving. And I think you're finally starting to see the impact you're making, starting to feel. I know you've always seen it, but some of us people that are like you and I and others, we don't really feel the impact we're having. And I just want you to know, I see it from your members. You're having tremendous impact, and I'm glad that the money is following. You deserve
Absolutely. It. Yes, me too. It's really been great, and the last year and a half have been just phenomenal.
And it's just going to get better from here.
Absolutely.
Well, we're grateful to have you as a franchise owner. And if anyone's interested in learning more about it, our website is www.franchise.networkinaction.com. And I'm available at 713-417-6152. If you own a business in Houston and you're a woman, I would really highly recommend you reach out to Lisa. She'll take great care of you. Lisa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the opportunity, and thank you for Network Connection.
You are welcome.
All right. Thanks.